Good evening. I'd like to call the joint meeting of the City Council and the Minnehaha County Commissioners to order on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. I note that there is a quorum here from the county.
City Council asked for a roll call for the city side.
Yes, ma'am. Council members Erickson.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Kiley. Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Starr. Staley.
Here. Quorum is present.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
A motion and a second on the county side. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Motion to approve on the city side.
Second.
Motion seconded. Roll call, please.
Council members Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Neitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes. That's been approved.
Okay. That takes us to our one and only agenda item for this evening. It's the second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls amending the 2002 revised joint zoning ordinance for Minnehaha County and the City of Sioux Falls. Kevin.
Hello, Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. As you was just noted, this is an ordinance amendment and a second reading to amend the ordinance pertaining to accessory buildings. A few months ago, the Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County Joint Planning Commissions have asked staff to review the ordinance pertaining to accessory buildings as there's been a lot of requests for larger sizes of accessory buildings. For a little background, any residentially zoned area or any area that has residences that's in a subdivision of more than 4 parcels then requires a conditional use permit for an accessory building larger than 1,200 square feet. The proposed ordinance would change that ordinance to have a little bit of a tiered system where you have larger parcels and would allow larger buildings before requiring a conditional use permit. I have a few slides to show the extent of requests. For over the last 3 years, the county and the joint city area has received a number of requests regarding larger accessory buildings. As you can see here in this graph, the joint Sioux Falls area has received 15 requests for these larger accessory buildings. And then to break them down by size, you can see that there's kind of a as you get larger, there's fewer, but there are a lot of this kind of mid-range building size, and that has been somewhat accounted for in the ordinance amendment for when you get a larger than 3 acres, you'd build up to 3,600 square feet without a conditional use permit. So that has the potential to remove quite a few of the future conditional use permit applications in that bottom part of the graph here. And then part of the reason why we're bringing this as an amendment to the ordinance is because oftentimes these conditional use permits are being approved. You can see that as the county as a whole, we've approved nearly every one of these conditional use permits. 4 of them have been approved with a smaller area than what was requested, and 3 of them have either been denied or withdrawn because of the probability of denial. Then I'll just read off kind of the table for the ordinance amendment, the primary purpose for the amendment. For parcels of land that are 1 acre or less, they'd be allowed to have 1,600 square feet of accessory building by a permit. Parcel area of 1.1 acres to 3 acres, they'd be allowed to have 2,400 square feet by permit. And then parcels of 3.1 acres or more, they'd be able to have 3,600 square feet by a building permit. If you get larger than those numbers, then you would go through the conditional use permit process again in front of the Planning Commission. The ordinance amendment went in front of the Joint Planning Commissions in November 27th of 2017. The Joint Planning Commission recommended approval for the ordinance, and it is now your turn to either approve, amend, or deny the proposed ordinance amendments. So, is there any questions?
Any questions? Commissioner or Councilman?
Just a question on this, when you were talking about the county and Sioux Falls, these are all the shared jurisdiction areas?
No, this is, if you go look at the first two slides, the blue is going to be the joint county, Sioux Falls joint jurisdictional areas. So in this slide, you'll see that blue bar. And if you go to the earlier slide, Sioux Falls number of 15.
Okay, thank you.
We were looking at this county-wide, and this morning the county adopted more or less the same ordinance for the rural area of the county. And we're expecting to do the similar thing with the Del Rapids joint ordinance as well.
Any other questions?
Just another, one more, please. When you have this amendment coming forth, this is being brought forth by the county, right, the Minnehaha County. If an individual, let's say a citizen wanted to have an amendment added, tell us how that works.
Yes, there's a process for citizens to approach the planning staff to propose an amendment. I believe there's an application and an application fee. I believe it's $350 for the application fee for an amendment. And that fee covers staff reviewing the project and also publication costs that are involved with the application process, because we have to publish this in the paper several times for the Planning Commission and for the joint bodies, if that's the case, once we get to elected officials. And every step of the way, there's staff reports and there's staff reviewing of the process.
So let's say a citizen had an issue and wanted something done. If they were to get the ear of a county commissioner to bring it forward, then those costs wouldn't bear any costs.
I suppose it'd be up to the Planning Commission to jointly ask us to bring it forward, because it was more or less a unanimous. The Planning Commission wanted us to look at this. It wasn't any one individual asking us to do this.
No, and I'm not talking about this. I'm just saying, just in theory, how this would work.
I guess since I've been on planning, I have not seen that happen where one commissioner has approached us for an amendment like this.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I would just say that while I was on the Board of Adjustment for 5 years, we would have certain things that would come through over and over and over, and they would be granted. And when you have something like this where you have whatever the body is that is consistently approving them, it's a great idea to do what we're doing here, which is to just put it in ordinance, because then you don't have unequal and inconsistent treatment, then everybody has the same rights, and then you don't have applications and conditional uses. So this just reflects what apparently these bodies have been doing for the last several years and streamlines the process for everybody.
Any other questions for Kevin? So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this matter? It appears that there is nobody here to speak on that, and so if there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion on the county side.
Madam Chair, let me just briefly say, being on the Planning Commission, you know, when we are cluttered up with these accessory building requests, and so we as a Planning Commission, also jointly with the City of Sioux Falls, decided to try to revise it so we wouldn't be getting weekly, or monthly anyway, additional requests. And the same thing is true for Del Rapids. Del Rapids, they come down to Sioux Falls to meet jointly with us. And there was a accessory building request for, I believe it was 1,290 square feet or something. It was like 90 feet over the amount we allowed. And they had to come all the way down to Sioux Falls. And I think the first time they didn't have a quorum, they had to come back again, and make the quorum. It's just a bit of a pain. And they actually would like to see more larger buildings, but then the land near Del Rapids, people have 20 acres and stuff, whereas as we get closer to Sioux Falls, the lots are more condensed and the properties. So it was at our own request that we made this, the staff look into this. And Kevin's numbers here just demonstrate what we felt. And so with that, I guess I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the county side. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Any motions on the city side?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Rolfing.
Motion and a second, voice vote? Roll call. Sorry, it said voice vote. Roll call vote?
Council members Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Motion passes. So that takes us to the end of our regular agenda, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn on the
So
county
moved.
side.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Move to adjourn on the city side.
Second, Nitzert.
And this meeting is adjourned. Oh, voice vote? Okay, sorry, I'm getting confused on my sheet here.
I'm sorry. Council members Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Now the meeting is adjourned. Thanks for coming.